The first question I did want to ask you is, like I said, going through all the research, how much do you really know about cars?
I truly don't know much about cars, really. I can like change a tire and I've changed my oil once. But other than that, no, I don't know much. I'll have my mechanics that are good at it do whatever they need to do
For
with
that
my
part.
car.
So what was the inspiration behind the song then?
Um, I mean, truly, so I was writing a lot of sad songs and like sad melodies, and I just wanted to write just like a less serious song, and it basically came from all of my friends talking about cars and these things that feel like they're all into and they feel like every guy needs to know, which maybe they do, but I personally just didn't know about it. And I mean, there's a lot of you could take it many different ways, but it was just kind of lighthearted, and the fact that I don't really know anything about cars and I still figuring everything out, and that's kind of how that song came about, I'd say.
Now, was that your 280Z that you did in the video?
That was my dad's. Yeah.
That's he still has it, I'm assuming.
Does, yeah, it's I whenever he lets me drive it, I'm pretty excited. So,
What was your
yeah.
first car out here in Arizona?
It was I got a Honda Civic 2003 when I was 16.
Mm.
So, great car, ran for a while. And now I just upgraded to a Honda Civic 2023. So I just got the same car, just 20 years.
Just moving up slowly but surely.
Oh yeah.
But living
Yeah.
in Arizona, I mean, since it is year-round heat, since it's year-round sun, I mean, is that how you kind of got into diving and kind of honed those skills?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. So I started with gymnastics when I was 13. No, sorry, when I was 9. I quit when I was 13. And then I did trampoline, cheer, and then I was homeschooled my whole life. And the year that I went to public school, I saw that there was diving, and I wasn't too familiar with it. So I um I tried diving, and with my background, I was able to even though starting really late, I was able to pick it up pretty fast.
What kind of work was involved with that? How did you pick it up? How did you like eventually find out that you're really good at this?
Yeah. So it was like what came natural to me was just like all the flips, and pretty much like I could do all the flips. The biggest change was now I land on my head instead of landing on my feet for like gymnastics and trampoline. So learning to open up on my head and go in like this was like the uh the weirdest part for me. And then the hardest thing about diving is the hurdle. Um, so on the board, you take like a couple steps and then jump up with one leg, and then do your bounce. But like your whole dive is dependent on whether or not you get a good hurdle. So practicing that hurdle and just like learning to like gaining the balance and mobility and stuff for diving was I feel like the big challenge for me.
Well, did you compete in gymnastics or
Yeah,
I mean,
I did.
how did you do that? How
I did good. I was yeah, I did. I won regionals when I was 10 years old, so that was pretty good. Um I was a pretty good gymnast, and I just got burnt out. Um and wanted to try other things like learn guitar and stuff like that. So, but I was a pretty good gymnast.
when it came to the transition from gymnastics to the diving, what was like how long did it take till you actually mastered it?
Um, I mean, it was, I feel like, so high school diving was a lot different because it just wasn't as serious. Um, my coach was great, but there was just a lot of things that should have I should have done to make me a better diver that we just didn't because it was high school dive. So I
Mhm.
feel like once I got to college, my freshman and sophomore year is when I really like started, specific weight training for diving. Like a lot of like one-legged squats and like weird exercises. Um, and then just like the amount of reps was just so much diving. We would do 20 hours a week. And I feel like my freshman year coming into my sophomore year, I felt like I was finally getting the hang of diving. I mean, I'm in college at the time, so I was already at a decently high level, but yeah, that's when I felt like I was getting the hang of it, kind of.
Well, how much dedication, how much work was involved going from, as you said, an okay diver in high school to becoming WAC conference diver of the year?
It was a lot, honestly. Diving was diving was my whole life. I became obsessed with it. I think that's what when I have something that I'm going all in at, whether it's music or diving at the time, it was just all I ever thought about. It was when I would watch TV, I would just watch like diving, and I became obsessed with it completely. I think really like me just becoming obsessed with it and thinking about it all the time and only wanting like just setting extremely high goals for myself. There was a time my sophomore year where like it's probably like 185, which is I was at like a good weight, but like for divers, the aesthetic is to be like very slim. So like outside of the pool, I lost like 10 to 15 pounds and I'm already like a small guy. So I was pretty skinny my sophomore year, and just like stuff like that like outside of the pool and also just being obsessed with it was, I feel like, what allowed me to have success with diving.
Was that play a role in I guess scoring for diving? I mean, just your look, appearance?
Yeah, it 100% does. I Even though I mean judges probably wouldn't say that it does, but it definitely does. Like the aesthetic, like the first thing that judges see is how you are on the board, and that whether that is like, oh, you have your shoulder slouched a little bit, like that's going to affect instead of standing up straight, and obviously like, your physique and your lines in the air are going to be judged. And typically, I mean, if you look at some of the best divers in the world, they're just very, very slim. And I mean, it's not all the times. Like Greg Louganis was actually a lot bigger for divers normally. Um, but he had to do a lot of like different things. Like he couldn't fully close his hands on his entry, so he had to like just put them like this. And there was a lot of different things. But judges for sure, like appearance is like the first thing that they see, and I think it does affect their score, even if they're not thinking about it, but like subconsciously, it definitely does.
So the same performance, but with a beer gut, you may have lost a few points.
100%. I do. I believe that. Yeah, I think so. I think it depends who you ask, but for sure, I think that plays a part in it.
Well, did you have to lose that weight? Did you have to go through like a certain diet? Did you have to cut the calories? Did you just work out harder? How did that all?
Yeah, pretty much. I pretty much talked to. It's really nice in college. I mean, you have such great resources. Like my strength and conditioning coach helped me with just what it like cutting weight, and it was basically here, one sec, sorry. It was basically me just cutting calories was the simplest way for me, and then just doing more cardio. So I just upped my cardio a little bit and then just cut my calories, and that worked for me. um I didn't go on crazy diet. I pretty much just like ate the same thing, just like a little bit less.
Mhm. How does that work as a college student? I mean, as far as the diet, I mean, is it more tempting? Is it harder to avoid? Like I said, the Taco Bells and
For
and
sure.
and all
Yeah. I
that?
mean, I think that's, I think a reason why it was easier was because it was during COVID actually. And like, I guess I didn't have as many temptations to like go out and do stuff, because every time I go out, I'm definitely going to be tempted to like eat Taco Bell late at night or something like that. And that's going to mess it up for sure. I had a lot riding on it because my freshman year, I didn't have like a full ride. And my performance that year was basically based on like what my scholarship would be next year. So I performed really well my freshman year, and I got a full ride the next 3 years. So I think it was just like me, like just trying to realize like what's really the most important thing here, and I have a lot riding on it. So I think that helped a little bit with the temptations.
And which college was that? That was
That was California Baptist
oh,
University. Yeah,
CBU. Okay.
CBU.
So with that, I mean, when it comes to diving, in your opinion, what's the one trait that every diver has that makes them as good as they can be? Everyone else.
Yeah, that's a great question. I I really think that it comes down to I would say competitive, like I'm trying to word this the right way, but like the people that just like get it done in competitions, like you could be there's a lot of divers that are really good in practice, and they do everything right, but like something, whether it's their mental or they get nervous, like if they go into a competition, like everything is thrown out the window. Like all that, I mean, like the practice helps, obviously, like you can't do it without practice, but you can mess up so easily, and it only takes one dive to like really throw you off completely from a competition. So I think the people that are really good at divers are just mentally strong and like thrive in a competition setting. Um, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Like you can do everything, you can prepare as much as you want, but like there's just some people that thrive in that competition setting and some people that do the opposite. And I've seen so many much better divers than me. Like I have beat them just because of they failed a dive or something like that, something way like out of the ordinary. Um, and I think that just I think that plays a big part.
And you also said before about doing a lot of single leg work as far as training for that. What were some of the workouts that you had to do for diving?
Yeah, it was like I guess I don't really know the names of them, but there was like one where we'd have this like wooden plank where we'd set on this thing, so it was a decline, and then we would just hold like a small kettlebell weight and do squats, or like one-legged squats to touch the ground. And it was that was one. We did a lot of like so jumping down from uh what's a box jump type, just like a box, yeah. Jumping down onto like one leg and just like uh with a soft like blow, and like um like helping with the strength of your knee and stuff like that. Um a lot of stuff like that, and then a lot of core and calisthenics type of stuff on top of like a decent amount of weightlifting, like traditional weightlifting.
I read over your CBU media guide, and one of the quotes was you had Olympic aspirations.
Yeah.
What happened there? How did you
So it was what was it? It was 2021 was the last Olympics, right? So I did like the Olympic trials thing, since they didn't actually have a meet because of COVID. But I needed a score of 380, and the score that I got at conference, I think it was like 369. So I came up short. So that was the first try, and then um at that point, like my plan was like right now I would have been going to, which is weird to say because like that was my original plan since freshman year, was to do a fifth year and try for these Olympics that are coming up. But I guess like senior year, like my interest changed, and like music became um everything, and I became obsessed with music, and I couldn't um yeah, that was just my thing, and I couldn't see myself doing diving for an extra year. Um so yeah, who's to say? Maybe I could have, maybe not, never know. But I tried into 2021 and did not make it. So that was my Olympic trials journey.
how does that happen? How do you maintain, I guess, for at least 3.5, 4 years, a regimen, a schedule of training for diving at the same time, now developing a music career? Where do you find the time and how does that eventually evolve or transition into a new career?
Yeah, I think I always find that question interesting because to me it didn't feel like too much at the time. Um, and I feel like right now it feels more overwhelming than it did before. But even though I was like a full-time student athlete and trying to do music at the same time, but at that time music was just a hobby for me. I mean, it was it wasn't something that I was trying. I mean, I wanted to do it full time secretly, but I wouldn't tell anyone that really. It was something that I put a lot of effort into, but would like play it off. Um, so, I mean, it looked like a lot. Just any chance I had really was just writing songs, and I remember a lot of times I would just like a lot of times I had good ideas like right before I had to go to practice, and I would try to work it out as much as possible, and then go to practice, and then like think of it while I'm practicing. Um, but it came down to like I loved it so much and I cared about it so much that I like it was almost easy for me because it was just something that I was obsessed with and music just slowly just became a bigger part of my life. And it didn't feel like really that hard, even though like thinking back, I'm like, I actually don't really know how. I 20 hours a week with diving plus schoolwork and 5 classes a week, and then also trying to make music work is difficult. Um, but for some reason back then it didn't seem like it because it was just like something that I loved so much and something that I wanted to work out.
I mean, did you play in clubs at the same time or?
Yeah, I would play like a couple times a month as much as I could. Really, I was trying to. I would play at open mics first starting out once a week, and then we got a couple winery gigs, a couple a brewery close to my college, and I would play as much as they would allow. It was really hard to get gigs, actually. Like it's difficult. Maybe I don't know if it was the place I was at or what. Riverside, California is not huge on music, I guess, but um, I tried my best and I played like a couple times a month. Um, so that was my first time just like playing in front of people too. So
So basically you went from playing at night and getting up to go to practice, like, and at the
yeah,
same time, if I'm not mistaken, you were also WAC conference all academic all conference.
yeah, I was, yeah, which was surprising for me, because I wasn't very, um, I didn't have a good GPA in high school, but college, I think I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Something changed for me. And yeah, I was able to keep a good GPA in college, which I'm still like very surprised and because I just had such a bad record in high school. Um, so yeah, I'm proud of that.
So what was your sleep schedule like during the back then?
Um, it would for the most part, I would have to. I mean it would depend. Yeah, I mean if I had a gig, I'd definitely get to bed later. And sometimes we'd have Saturday morning practice, which was annoying sometimes, but at that point, I mean, if I had a gig, I would just sleep the rest of the day after practice. I think sleep was just like so necessary for me that I couldn't just neglect it. Um, I feel like I was all right with sleep. I mean, not anything crazy, but definitely had my nights where I would get not a lot of sleep, but I would have to make it up somehow, or else I just can't function without sleep.
You get better sleep now these days?
Um, Honestly, if I'm on the road, uh, it's a tough, it's worse. If I'm on the road, sleeping is super difficult. Just you have a lot of adrenaline from me playing a show after, and then I try to go to bed, and it's difficult. It's difficult to turn your mind off and actually go to bed. So with touring, it's just like all bets are off. Sleeping is just like whenever you can find time, and that's a rough time. for the most part.
Now, throughout the whole thing, was there one specific moment that you said, like during college, during you started performing, your early days, that you're like, I could really make a career out of this now?
Um, that's a great question. I think I think there was kind of like a moment where I started to actually believe it for myself. Like, you can have whoever tell you that, you know, you're gonna be big one day. Like, you can have so many people tell you that, but if you don't believe it for yourself, I feel like it's never gonna work out. So, I mean, I had a lot of people telling me that when I would say like my junior, senior year of college, and I didn't really believe it until a certain point. I don't remember exactly when, but um, I think there was a point where I just started to believe and like actually think like this is actually this might be possible, and like um, I don't need to play on the biggest stage in the world. And if this a certain amount of people can be affected in a positive way from my music, then like I'm happy. And I didn't, you know, it was just kind of like being being okay with whatever. And I think I just kind of felt like, yeah, I think this is possible at some point.
Now, on the flip side, when someone tells you stick to diving,
Yeah.
you know that's coming up, but like, how do you like? What kind of mindset does it take to say you're going to go from maybe he's right, maybe I suck at this, to being like bleep you, I'm good at this, and I'm going to show you guys.
I think, yeah, man, that was a tough one, for sure, because I was struggling with that with the months following it. I really did. I thought exactly what you said. I was like, maybe they're right. If there's three people that are extremely successful in the music industry say that it probably is not worth it, then maybe they're right. I don't know.
For those who may not know, can you go over a little bit of that story?
My bad. Yeah. So my senior year of college, I tried out for the show called American Idol, and I so I was a diving at the time, and it was very difficult for me to just convince my coach to let me miss. It was just one day of practice actually, and so that was difficult, and he said yes. Surprisingly, I didn't think he would say yes. So that was like my story. Was I am a diver, barely got let to go to American Idol from my coach, and I went there, and I drove to Vegas by myself. I didn't tell anyone, my family or anyone. I just drove to Vegas. Didn't have anyone. It didn't feel right. If I don't know, it was a weird experience to begin with, and I sang my song "How Could I Ever," and basically Lionel Richie told me that um, just inexperience and it's not all there. And then Katy Perry pretty much said the same thing. And then Luke Bryan was the one that was just a little bit harsher with his words. And he told me that he thinks it's better for me to focus on diving and not risk my scholarship to pursue music. And so then I just left. Drove back to California, and yeah, and that brought me back to just, yeah, I'm like actually thinking, were they right? Um, and I think it was really me convincing myself over time that they weren't right, because I was lying. I was kind of lying to myself, like telling other people like, oh, I don't need that show, like, but like I didn't really believe it for myself. And I think it was just like a long period of time, just like me saying it so many times, and then I started to actually believe it. Um, and I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I was kind of just like faking it till I made it. Um, and then it was like a month later, it was funny, like I filmed that first cover of Jersey Giant in the hotel at American Idol. And then a month later I released it, and like a lot of things changed for me after that. and thankfully I'm able to do this full time and go on the road and share my music with people that will listen. Um, but yeah, I got 3 no's from American Idol first.
I mean,
So
looking back at that, do you think of it now as maybe that's might be a good turning point in your career that it pushed you a little bit harder?
I do. I 100% think that. I think that helped. I think that really, I kept writing after that. I kept releasing music. I didn't let anything that they said, because I was, convincing myself during this time, trying to build up the courage to actually believe it for myself. Um, but I do think so, and I think that if I were to have like done well on the show, I think possibly that could have, I don't know, it could have hurt me, and maybe it could have helped me more. I'm not sure. But I know that they do have like very just not good deals that you have to sign
Mm.
when you get to a certain point in the show. Who's to say I ever would have made it to that point? But they have very like just horrible deals that really can screw over artists. Um, so maybe if I did and I signed a deal at that time, it could have really hurt me.
I mean, do you think it takes maybe an athlete's mindset, or I mean, your experience as a diver, having judges score you every round, to maybe, I guess, fight through the negativity and maybe say, hey, next time I'm going to show everybody I'm going to improve?
Yeah, I think being an athlete definitely helped with that. I just dealt with like a decent amount of rejection, and I feel like I never really like, and that it truly hasn't got to me too much. Like definitely the American Idol was the biggest one that I've had, so it took a little bit longer. But
Well,
like,
for other artists in your similar situation, like what are your tips for developing that thick skin to, I guess, push forward and not let it just go off the
I think
rails?
what really helped me is like, it sounds simple, but nobody really knows what they're doing. Like if when you really come down to it, like not nobody has any idea who the next artist is gonna who's gonna blow up, what type of music is gonna be like big right now. Zach Bryan came out of nowhere and changed country music forever, or at least for this time. I don't know, but if there's someone that's uh, telling, if someone has an opinion, obviously everyone has an opinion. um the truth is like they don't know what they're talking about, like nobody does. And like the biggest CEO at a major label company cannot predict what's going to happen, or you know so it's just like at some point you just have to do what you do and be yourself, and realize that everybody's trying to figure it out at the same time as you, and there's a lot of people that are going to act like they have it figured out, but truly nobody has it figured out.
So right now, what is life as an indie artist like?
Yeah, so I mean, currently just moved to Nashville, which is a big change for me. I haven't I lived in college, but other than that, I've been at my parents' house for my whole life. So um, right now, it just looks like when I'm off the road um, here, basically just writing, collaborating with some artists that I really like, making content. Currently, we're building out a studio in my garage. So we're trying to work on that. Um, and then we're starting the next project, starting to record it. So pretty much doing all like just like the boring stuff that nobody likes to talk about right now. And then we're going to be getting ready to hit the road here soon. Um, and then do it all over again, hit the
Who are
road.
some of the artists that you look up to and say, well, I like to do it just the way they
Yeah.
do it?
Tyler
Yeah.
Childers is someone that I respect so much, because throughout the years, I mean, not only is like just one of my favorite writers, my favorite artists, such a master of writing melodies, and incredible guitar player, everything. He has the full package. And one thing that he does that I feel like some artists lack is really like growing in his sound. And each project that he's done, each album has sounded like significantly different than the one before. And that might come with a lot of hate from people. A lot of people weren't fans of the last album that he put out, either the gospel album or uh, Rustin' in the Rain, because it's very, very different from Purgatory, which I don't know if you're familiar with Tyler Childers but yeah, I mean, Purgatory is a very country sounding um, album, and I think I look up to him so much because he's not afraid of growing in his sound and changing his sound, um, and not doing it for the audience, because at the end of the day, like you really can't do it for the audience, because um, you're going to lose yourself in the process, and it's not going to be true to you, even though the stuff is like resonating with people. You can't specifically do it for them. And I respect Tyler Childers a lot, because he he doesn't care, and he makes what he wants to make, and he grows, and his sound changes, and I think that's super commendable as an artist.
I think my country music expertise right now is the highway playlist every week. So, but it's expanding week by
Yeah.
week. It is expanding, so I'm getting there. So
Oh yeah.
I'll know everyone's songs probably by the end of the year. I'm hoping.
Let's
But
go.
at the same time, do you think social media has played a big role in helping you out as far as
100%. Yeah, I think that's the game right now. Social media, and that's why I think it's not necessary to sign to a major label, because all they're going to do is tell you to keep making TikToks, keep making Instagram reels, keep posting exactly how you were just doing it, but now we'll take a cut of your songs. Um, so I mean, that is 100% the game right now. That is how it is going to be played. And I think so. TikTok has been a huge help to me, and Instagram and everything like that. So um, I think a lot of artists are like kind of almost too cool for social media, and like they don't want to post because they don't want to be cringy or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you're gonna be independent artists, you gotta play the game, and you gotta put yourself out there. And like, you putting that much time and effort into writing a song, producing a song, getting the courage to release it, like the least you can do is show other people that, and the best way to do it is through social media. So social media is like absolutely so important right now. And I mean, not that I like don't love it, but it's just how it is right now. It's what you have to do.
so cringiness is just part of the game? You gotta.
I think so. I think you got to look past the cringiness, and like you just have to realize also, like, nobody cares really, like, along with like nobody knows what they're doing, and nobody really cares that much to hate on a video that you made of you lip syncing or playing a song, whatever it is. Like, you just putting yourself out there and not worrying about the outcome is something that I'm still working on 100%, but I think is so important to artists, because I mean, damn, the amount of hours that you put into that song, like you gotta show people, like, I think that's the way that you just gotta show people.
Was that all easier now? I mean, the cringe part, I guess maybe even the negative comments on TikTok, Instagram, because you've already gotten the worst. I mean,
Yeah,
well, now you just brush it off now and say, yeah, I expect that. I try better, try harder next time to get at me.
it's it gets like slightly easier each, but it really never gets easy. I have a song I have a song about that, but I kind of expected it to get easier, but it doesn't, which is annoying. I wish it did. Um, but it doesn't get easier. It still gets to you, and I still have to remind myself every day, like, these people don't actually care. They're just,
Well, do you do something for that? Do you do like a meditation? Do you do deep breathing? Anything that
maybe I should, but right now I pretty much just like I guess just affirm myself, just affirmation of saying it. I think, I mean, yeah, I think whenever I am feeling overwhelmed or whatever, I like just to take a bunch of deep breaths, and that helps. But yeah, I think it's just, this is a part of it. This is a part of it, and it's always gonna be there. And unfortunately, like I wish I was just numb to that, but I'm not. And gets slightly easier, but it doesn't never gets easy.
Do you find time now to work out or stay in diving shape?
So right now, I started I got into running, which is nice because to be honest, on the road, finding time to work out, like first of all, like the level that I'm at right now, there's no way that I could get to a gym with the there's 8 people in the van and we all have different ideas, and like the only thing that I could do is pretty much push-ups and pull-ups and running. So pull-ups are iffy too, because we bring a little thing that hooks onto the door frame, and like sometimes it's just so far in the trailer that we can't find it. So I think running is something that has been nice that I picked up that I can do on the road, here, and while I'm here, I go to a gym. But I mean, I haven't found a way to do what I want to do fitness wise on the road. So I know I just saw that one of my friends just went on tour with Tim McGraw, and he travels with a semi truck that is Planet Fitness, like his own gym in the semi truck. And he's like ripped, so like yeah, that makes sense. But until I can like have that, it's very difficult, and running is just like is what I enjoy now. So that's kind of like my fitness right now.
I mean, do you cook at all? Do you, what's your diet like?
Yeah, pretty much. My diet right now is just, we have so many eggs in our fridge. So I live with I live with 3 other guys, and I pretty much just have like 4 to 5 eggs and some avocado on toast every morning. That's just my. I'm good at cooking breakfast. I'm not very good at cooking anything else. I will normally like have a sandwich, and then kind of figure it out for dinner.
I mean, do you have any downtime these days or?
Yeah, I have a decent amount of downtime, like I said, when I'm not on the road. Um, and a lot of it now is spent with the house that I just got, mowing the lawn and fixing up the whatever. Like I feel like there's always something to do with the house. So yeah.
You have to mow the lawn in Arizona? Or?
No, I never. This is the first time I've ever had to mow a lawn because we had rocks in our backyard. So
I figured.
yeah.
Last question I do have is Nowhere Fast Tour coming up, or did it start yet?
Technically, yeah, but it's just a bunch of like we have a one-off like festival dates that are just on the tour poster, and it starts really like July, mid-July, and then September, October is when we're really hitting the road hard.
What should fans expect when they come
Uh,
to the HONER concert?
yeah, I think it's my favorite thing to do is play in front of an audience, and I recently just got an electric guitar, so I'm gonna put that into the shows. Um, but really, it's just, I mean, my whole band's from Arizona, and we have a really good time on stage, and we're having such a good time that I think everyone else is having a good time too in the audience. Um, but it's a lot of sad songs, a good amount of upbeat
Last
songs
question I do
too.
have is how did the whole sad song theme come about?
Uh, it's really just, it's easier to write. I don't know if if the word is easier. I think I just like gravitate towards um writing sad songs, sadder melodies, and I'm trying to With writing, it's really hard. It's kind of just whatever I feel inspired or experience or something like that is what I feel like I need to write about. So I think I'm gonna have an era, like just eras of different writing that I have. And like right now it's definitely just like the sad era. Um, so I think once, I have no idea what, because the writing is something that's not really up to me. I mean, it is, but it's something that I can't control. So, um, I hope that there's some happy songs that I write in the future, but I don't know. Um, it's just kind of, just what I started writing, and it's what I'm writing right now. And, yeah, it's a sad song theme right now, I guess.